My name is Jonathan Atkins. I'm the International Director at Macmillan. Welcome to the International Session for Digital Minds for the London Book Fair 2014. This is a session where we're going to look at four very distinct but fascinating markets. China, Korea, Brazil and Turkey. And of course these are all markets where economic growth is way ahead of what we're seeing in European markets at the moment, and digital growth is starting to really happen in a quite dramatic way. These are all markets where new local publishing is seeing a huge amount of dynamism and energy, and these are also markets that haven't been driven by one dominant player in the way that the US and UK have been driven in digital terms by the dominance of a player like Amazon. And so what we're going to do today is just explore how that impacts the local market and how we can learn from that different dynamic. We have four very distinguished speakers from these markets. We have Lisa Zhang from China, who has worked for Times Publishing as their chief representative in China for 6 years. She's now the international director for Cloudary, the largest online community-driven literary platform and one of the fastest growing private publishers in China. China, if you remember, was the market focus for the London Book Fair in 2012. We also have Robert Kim. Robert is the CEO and founder of ITProPortal Inc. ITProPortal is the major e-book technology partner for publishers like Oxford University Press, for World Book and RHK, formerly Random House Korea. And Robert is the advisor for the National IT Promotion Agency and was vice chairman of the Korea E-Learning Industry Association. Korea will be the market focus for London Book Fair 2014. We also have Mehmet Inhan here. Mehmet is the CEO of EBI, which operates the largest Turkish online bookstore and the first online book wholesaler, as well as a popular literary magazine published in digital and physical formats. Mehmet is also a part-time lecturer in economics at Bosphorus University. And Turkey, as you may know, Turkey is the London Book Fair market focus for this year, 2013. And then finally we have Carlo Carrenho. Carlo is a Brazilian journalist and a publishing consultant. In 2001 he founded Publish News, which is a daily electronic newsletter that covers the Brazilian publishing market. Carlo has also worked for several Brazilian publishing companies, including Thomas Nelson Brazil, where he was managing director for 4 years. So what I'd like to do is look at four snapshots of each of these markets. We're going to try and learn everything there is to know about these markets in half an hour. And then I'd like to invite some questions and answers at the end if we've got time, for about 10 minutes at the end of the session. We were due to start this session at 20 past. We're actually starting more like 1:45. So I hope we can continue on for... the next session is due to start at 12:25, so I guess we want to try and reach that deadline pretty... Oh, okay, I'm getting signals that we've got a bit more leeway. So, but let's kick off with Lisa to have a look at China. You can say that. No. Thanks.
Shall I? Thank you. Thank you. Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lisa Zhang. I'm the director of the International Department of Cloudary. I have 8 minutes So let's start now. As in a lot of parts of the world, the print bookstores, the small and medium-sized bookstores in China are shrinking. A lot of them closed all due to this growth of the online bookstores. But the larger one in China, like the Xinhua bookstore, because they are the state-owned bookstores, they are still doing quite well. And somehow they are endangered because a lot of readers visit there and peruse their books and then take photos of a book cover and then order from the online bookstores. So as a result, the annual sales of the online bookstores has increased by 3 times in the past 3 years, as you can see the figures there. I guess after the session, you will be getting the copies of the PPT. So I will not go into the figures. And so mostly due to the online orders, total sales of print books increased by 8 to 10% in last year. And generally, smaller publishers are selling more of their publications through the online bookstore than the larger and the stronger publishers. As you can see from this slide. And e-book industry has taken a different route in China from the rest of the world. Direct publishing, or we call it self-publishing, is taking the lead in the digital publishing transition. And there are 4 kinds of sellers of ebooks in China. One is those platforms with content like Cloudary. And the second category is those hardware producers like Hanwang. And then the third kind of ebook distributors are those online bookstores like Dangdang and Amazon China. And then the fourth category are those telecommunication companies. So far, no platform has established yet in China as what Amazon has done in the rest of the world. Somehow, there is one thing that China is doing better than the rest of the world, that is direct publishing. And a unique term called online literature is attributing to this development. In this page, the right-hand chart shows the status of internet growth in China. You can see that people are reading a lot online literatures. There are 203 million users read online literatures, and this figure is like more than the number of people using e-commerce. And mobile internet users are also growing very rapidly. The revenue contributed by telecommunication companies to the content providers has grown remarkably. The content sold on smartphones showed some difference from the other channels. Online literature is the most popular reading in China for the smartphone users. And so what exactly this online literature? Let me share with you a case analysis. Cloudary Corporation is the largest community-driven online literature platform in China. It takes about 72% of the market share. Its parent company is SNDA, is more like a technical IT company. It was founded, Cloudary was founded in July 2008, and Cloudary has so far got 1.6 million writers and 6 million titles have accumulated on our platforms, and about 67 million average users per month, and about 68 million mobile phone readers are reading our contents. And in the year of 2011, the revenue has reached about 700 million Chinese yuan. This is more than like $1 million US. This chart shows Cloudary platform. We get the content from our own platform and from the publishers, from like the other publishers. And after we get the contents, we process the content and then make the best use of the contents. We either sell them by this online paid reading system, or by mobile reading, or online advertising, or by copyright licensing, or offline publishing. And here is one of the direct publishing website called Qidian.com. It is the largest one in China, and it focuses mainly on fantasy, science fiction, etc. And its readers are mostly male, and the top 10 novels have collectively got 680 million page views and 1,640 comments. And another website is Hongxiu.com. It focuses mainly on female literature, and its writers and the readers are all mostly women as well. And the business model of Cloudary works in this way. Writers register on our websites, and then they start to write. They keep on uploading their finished chapters regularly. It could be every day or every other day. And then the first part of the writings are all free until the story becomes really interesting, and when there are enough readers following them, and then we start to charge. We put this kind of books into a category, we call it VIP category, then we start to charge. And then we charge in a way, we call it like micro payment system. I will share with you how this micro payment works later. And then the writers are remunerated not only by this micro payment, but by other ways as well. Like we have this update booster, because the readers are waiting for the content. Sometimes they can't wait. Then they have to tip the writer, ask him or beg him to, give the next story. So, and then this kind of revenue will be shared between the platform and the writers. We also have that monthly vote, and the number one of the monthly votes getter would get a kind of a bonus every month. The lower part of the page shows the payment tools. Okay. Is that, I have only 1 minute for that?
I'm afraid so.
Oh, okay. So, well, this page shows the micro payment policy. And we have other payment choices as well, as shown here. And this page shows one of our websites. Because our websites are all in Chinese, so this English notes give you a little idea like how it works. And then lastly, I have to mention one thing. because of the way the contents are generated on our contents, the story, the plots are generally really captivating. Otherwise, the readers will drift away. So, in that, so this kind of stories are really suitable for adapting into movies and TV series. So as a result, Cloudary is becoming, I think, the largest movie and TV adaptation rights providers in China nowadays. Like among, like about nearly 100 movie and TV series are being made at the moment or launched in China. So that's about it. Thank you.
Lisa, thank you very much. As usual with China, there are some amazing statistics there. And one statistic that I read yesterday, now this was on Wikipedia, so it could be completely made up. But the statistic I read was that digital revenues in 2009 in China were already up to $11 billion. Now that was across that, we think that's across books and games as well. And it said that the growth per year at the moment was 50%. So that digital revenue could be as high as between 30 and $40 billion by now in China. And we're very lucky to have Lisa here, who is clearly one of the pioneers of that market. And Lisa, thank you very much. Robert, so now we're going to learn all about Korea in 8 minutes.
All right. Okay, I'm Robert. I prepared for 5 minutes, so I have 3 minutes to talk about myself. Well, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to explain that I have a different background. I don't come from the publishing industry. I've been in the IT industry for 16 years, mainly in the e-learning solution providing industry. I've been providing technology to schools and educational institutes. And with this background, 2 years ago, I founded a company called ITProPortal and started to provide digital textbook solutions for tablets. That's the time I got involved in the publishing industry. So a lot of industry is converging. Although ITProPortal is a very young startup, our platform called Spindle Books have been selected by a lot of global publishers such as Oxford University Press in UK, World Book in US, and RHK in Korea. So I will share my perspective of the Korean ebook market as a technology provider to ebook retailers and publishers. So to understand the Korean market, I think I should give a little bit about the characteristics of the Korean people and its market. Well, we have a population of 50 million. With North Korea combined, we have like 75, but I won't be talking about North Korea. No ebook market there. A lot of, mainly focused on building bombs to bomb US. But, well, the Koreans are known as and in one of the papers published by McKinsey, it says Koreans are the fastest adopters of new technology in the world. So as you can see, the smartphone penetration per age group, we have the younger generation has almost 90% penetration. It's top in the world. We have around 80% of high-speed internet penetration. And this is the picture I've taken last week in one of the subways in the underground in Korea. So you can hardly find any people who read books. It's mostly like they have this turtleneck syndrome. Everybody's like watching looking at their smartphones. And we have Wi-Fi or 3G or 4G network everywhere, literally. It's even in elevators, in running trains and everywhere. So none of them are looking at like offline content, actually. They're probably watching YouTube, Gangnam Style, or whatever you can do online. They play online games in the subway. So that's one of the things that is, as a result, our ebook market is not growing as fast as expected. It is growing fast, but not as fast as expected. The book market is quite stagnant. Some publishers' revenue is declining quickly. The bottom, the red bars represent the ebook market. If you go and search the internet, there's a lot of fake information, misleading information about the Korean ebook industry, because some of them have been produced by some interest group that wants to get attention from the government to get support. Well, however, it's not as fast growing as the other countries, as people expect the high-tech Korean people to adopt e-books, but it's not happening right now. So it's around 6 to 7% of the total publishing market. Okay. So still, people read using the tablet penetration is quite low, but we have a high penetration of smartphones, big smartphones, like 5-inch, that ones that Samsung started to build, the Note series. And smartphones, they read bite-sized contents, like they can read for 15 to 20 minutes in the subway. Koreans commute in average 2 hours a day, so they prefer to read something that they can keep attention for like 20 minutes. Different books are purchased between smartphones and tablets. And the ebook retailers, unlike as Jonathan mentioned, Korea does not have Amazon. Nor iBooks. You cannot buy books from iBooks with your local credit card. We don't have other big retailers from the West. We have like 25 totally fragmented retailers having market share, small bits of market shares. So within like 5 years, maybe the last man standing will be like 3 of them will survive. And in the general retail market, it's known that Korea is the grave of foreign players. Like we kicked out Carrefour, we kicked out Walmart. Tesco is still surviving in Korea. But the same thing is happening in the ebook retailing market also. Okay, so summarize, to read between the lines. Well, yeah, it's a pity that people are less reading paper books, but have not moved to ebooks yet. And I'm not sure what will happen. They're more moving from purchasing books to consuming bite-sized contents anywhere, anytime, and that content could be books or webtoons, cartoons, or any kind of publishing format, but not what you read on Kindles or other ebook readers. And only a few publishers have made money out of it. So henceforth, the good killer contents are not going up in the ebook retailer market right now. The publishers have also they have complaints about the big players, what we call jebels, the big conglomerates in Korea, the subsidiaries of Samsung, etc. They're afraid they will dominate the ebook retailing market. So the publishers have different thoughts. They're experimenting different kinds of distributing platforms. And I'd like to introduce one of them. So due to these kind of reasons, many new attempts are being made in a revolutionary way. And my company is involved in a few of those experiments. And this one is called tab-on books. We try to, replicate the pronunciation of tabon in Portuguese. It means cool. We have a Brazilian speaker right now, he'll explain. But this will be launched in the latter half of this year. The main thing is trying to house a big portal. The 20 major publishers are initiating this project, and funded by one of a big conglomerate. And every publisher will have a shop-in-shop type of in a big portal, and they will get full control of pricing, especially up to now, paper books, ebooks alike. They don't know who's buying. They don't know who's buying their books. But this portal will share the big data to the publishers. And okay, I'm out of time. Okay, and they will have full marketing control, pricing controls. And this will be a new attempt in Korea. So this will be the 26th, maybe the retailer, but maybe the last man standing. And this platform will be exported to other countries. And last thing, the Korean digital textbook market has been in the spotlight for quite a few years. But however, we have a new government right now running beginning this February, and everything is under review again. So those $2.3 billion investment has been put on hold. Okay, so what's the last mention I would like to say that Korea might not be as attractive right now for foreign publishers, but however, a lot of technology, in the aspect of technology, a lot of experience has been going on. So it could be a smart move to partner with a Korea technology provider, a small startup like us, and experiment new things. And I think we're building a great success story with Oxford University. And we have a stand in London Book Fair, so you can come in and see the live demo of it. Thank you very much.
Next up is Turkey, and as I say, we have Mehmet Inhan from EBI in Turkey. Some similarities between Korea and Turkey. You saw there the massive government investment that was promised from the Korean government a few years ago, and a similar digital investment is being planned in Turkey for educational digital development, and we'll hear a bit more about that.
Yeah, thank you. I will be covering that a little bit. Just an outline. I will, throw some numbers about Turkey in the online scene in Europe, go into the Turkish market a little bit, and then try to explain our own experience, which is about 16, 17 years old now in the online book selling. And I guess you will get a grasp of the Turkish market. We have a different model. It's more vertical, it's more integrated, it's more lots of eggs in lots of baskets type of thing. So I think it will be interesting. But first, let me throw some figures. Turkey is an interesting player in the online game in Europe. It is right after Italy, if we consider Russia as the first voluminous online player, Turkey is about, the sixth? Yeah, the sixth. But the striking thing is that it's the youngest internet population in Europe as compared to Germany, which is the oldest. So almost 70% of the unique visitors are young, below 35, let's say. It's as far as the time spent on the internet, it's coming right after the UK. It's the second after the United Kingdom, spending an average of 31 hours. This is showing Turkey as leading in online searches, but that might be a little bit misleading because in Turkey usually people write the internet addresses in the Google search bar, so that might be a little bit misleading. And as far as the banking is concerned, the online payments and so on and so forth, we have quite a developed infrastructure. And when you look at the Turkish market as far as book printing, book consumption is concerned, you can place Turkey more or less around the BRIC countries, which are also represented here partly. So that's in the same cluster. The Turkish book market is, well, not that big, of course, but still 43,000 titles are produced every year. Most of them are educational. We have huge central examinations for school children. Therefore, lots of support, educational support content is within the printing and publishing business, almost 60% of it, let's say. About 300 million copies are produced commercially. The retail market is roughly 2.4 billion Turkish liras, which is approximately 0.8 billion pounds. And imported books account about 200 million. The big problem in Turkey, I don't know if it's the same in Brazil and Korea, I guess so, is piracy. It's been piracy for quite some time, and there is a huge amount of revenue which is lost to piracy. That keeps on being a problem. Average price is about 18 lira, which is 6 pounds, retail price. The VAT is 8%. The funny thing is, e-books VAT is 18%. I guess the government is supporting pulp paper industry rather than content. So there's a discrepancy there. We are still trying to get the government to appreciate that an e-book is still a book, and it has to be supported. But anyway. There are about 1,800 active publishers. The recorded amount is much more, but actively, when we talk about publishers who are publishing at least 2-3 books a year, is around 1,800. And we've got about 3,000 active bookstores all around the country. And I will come to that when I'm talking about printed books and our experience there. The online market is about 3% of the whole and about 6% of fiction and cultural titles. It's still low. It's not as high as UK and the United States, but it's growing steadily at a pace of about 35-40%, which is, by the way, the growth rate of e-commerce in general in Turkey. Well, we are about 3 major online booksellers in the market, covering about 75% of the market, sharing it at about equal shares. And the average discount rate online for books sold online is about 25%. Coming to e-books, the penetration is still very low. It's below the 1% mark. And the bottleneck is primarily the supply side rather than the demand side. It's the publishers which are still not very eager to go digital. So very briefly to our experience. We are a 15-year-old online bookstore. And again, as I said, we share 25% with 2 other players. We're growing at an average of 40% on the B2C side. Sorry. And then we are hosting about more than 40 publishers' websites. Not websites really, but their e-commerce front ends and also back ends. So about 40 of major publishers, when you go to their websites, there is an e-commerce page. It's actually hosted by Idefix and also fulfilled by Idefix. So it's a partnership with publishers. We pioneered into digital in 2010. It was about the same time, April, this time, 3 years ago. And the first ebook store in Turkey was opened under Idefix. It was a project which was also supported by a government technology foundation. We developed our own DRM system, and we provided, our mission was to distribute ebooks to all possible platforms, not only e-ink readers, but also apps, whether it's Android or iOS, whatever. Our customer can use their ebooks in whatever platform they like. We also adopted the agency model. That's important. We started together with the publishers in close cooperation with them, and we adopted the agency model. And we are still subsidizing the EPUB conversion for the publishers. But unfortunately, only 350 out of these 1,800 publishers are publishing digitally. There is still a resistance, and despite the fact that 43,000 titles are published every year, only 6,000 EPUB titles are available still. So there is still lots of resistance there. New things are emerging, new entries from telecom companies, especially mobile, and the government and private. But we are for example, we partner with Turkcell, the largest mobile supplier, as their sole e-book aggregator, under the conditions that we both adapt the agency model and make sure that we do not go into price competition, and have the publishers a say on price also. I don't know if I will get arrested for this after the EU Commission decisions, but anyway. Now to the Turkish government's decision to distribute 16 million tablets and devices to school children. That's a very ambitious project, which is eventually going to increase awareness, but of course, together with it come all the arguments regarding the educational content and viability of the project. Now, last, I want to mention that our real growth did not come from the digital side, but started when we went into the wholesale book sales to the bookstores in Anatolia, which were undersupplied. Now, this operation started to grow very fast, and this showed us that actually there is still a lot to do in the printed business in our country. In 1 year, 1,700 publishers were contracted, and 1,500 bookstores started purchasing directly from us. And, okay, I'm wrapping up. Not only that, we also try to go into digital content by starting the e-zine, which also went printed for about 30,000 issues a month, and it became a very popular literary magazine. So that's another area which we are putting our baskets in, and they are also organizing literary events with authors and their fans, so on and so forth. So maybe I'll just, I don't have time, right? I'm wrapping up. So our model has been a vertically integrated, both B2C and B2B, on the digital side and on the printed side also. And that's just, to show that we have been putting the eggs in all baskets, not because we decided to do that by ourselves, but because our market dictated this to us. It was out of a necessity rather than a choice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mehmet. We've asked Carlo to come last because actually he's the fastest talker, and he should be able to get us wrapped up on time.
All right. Well, so just gonna cut to the chase here. I'd like to start just with some overview of the economics in Brazil. That's the Brazilian GNP growth rate. So 2010 was absolutely great, over 7%. And then last year was bad, actually, below 1%, but we are very optimistic people. So we still believe we're going to grow 3% this year. And more important, because we're optimistic, we believe we're going to win the football World Cup in 2014 at home. And honestly, we are a lot more worried about the World Cup than the GNP. But anyway, more important, the GNP actually is that the society in Brazil is changing. So this middle class, the so-called in Brazil C class, is booming in Brazil. And today, over 55% of the population is considered middle class, while the poor classes are going down and the AB class is going up also. So that's creating a new market for mostly anything, including books. So that's why you can see news of Brazilian bookstores being open in Brazil instead of closing like it's happening in the rest of the world. Basically, we have a new market of consumers there. And then the number of students is up too. So in 10 years, we doubled the number of college students. So the consequences for the education market is huge. Most of those students go to private schools, which is the yellow growth there. And then the book market in published revenue is around $2.5 billion, which makes us the 9th largest book market in the world. But government purchases are almost 30% of the revenues. So that makes our president there one of the largest book buyers in the world, because this government purchases are all centralized in Brasilia, in the Ministry of Education, for the whole country. Then talking more about digital, those are educated guesses, but I kind of could calculate the market in 2012. It's around 0.47% of the market. That's for trade, basically. And I'm forecasting that this year we're going to get almost to 3%, 2.63%. But then what happened, talking about digital, was that last December 5, we had what they call the D-Day. So basically, Kobo being Kobo, they love parties. They have one next Tuesday at night. Everyone should go there. They scheduled a party to launch in Brazil. Then Amazon, being Amazon, they decided to pop the party and said, hey, let's going to launch it the same day. And then Google just quietly did that even before Amazon did. So at the end of the day, in a space of 5 hours, Amazon, Kobo, and Google arrived together in Brazil. And being a journalist, covered this market in sleep for 2 nights after that, but they are still there. Apple actually had arrived in October, but Apple actually doesn't have a Brazilian store. What Apple does, they open a window in the American store where Brazilians can buy Portuguese books, paying in dollar with international credit cards, and paying taxes. Brazil has no taxes for books. Books are absolutely tax-free. But if you buy anything abroad, you pay taxes. So Apple is doing like, in that way, which supposedly will be terrible, but it seems like to be working. Talk about that later. So those are some numbers that I got. That's the first time the order being shown. DoD is a large ebook distributor in Brazil. It's a consortium of 7 large publishers there in something very similar to Libranda in Spain. They're responsible for 30% of the market in Brazil, so that's a very good sample. So those are the actual ebook unit sales since January last year until today. So you can see there that October 12, when Apple launched, sales just more than doubled. Again, in December, when Google and Kobo launched, sales more than doubled again. And then it's interesting in January, February, March that you already see the same pattern in other countries where January is a big month because everyone is buying content for the devices they got for Christmas, and then it goes down a little bit. Also, this is for last month. That's the market, the retail market share of DoD. So in Brazil, Apple is #1, actually. Amazon is #2, last month, at least in March. Then Google. Then Saraiva. Saraiva is like the Brazilian Barnes & Noble or Waterstones. And then Kobo is in 5th. So why is Apple #1 and not Amazon, as everyone was expecting? That's the answer. We had a huge base of tablets and smartphones in Brazil. So just iOS users in Brazil are around 3 million, and Android would be 11 million users. That explains the success of Apple, and even the fact that Google is doing quite well, even though they don't make much effort, but with so many people with Android tablets and smartphones, that helps a lot. Even though Amazon started in December, #4 position, and got to #2 now. And how did they do that? Well, basically, as Amazon always does, with very good promotions, very good prices, very good discounts. The difference in Brazil is that they're not paying that themselves. They're not paying the bill. They're convincing publishers to actually offer better prices and better promotions. So, and the publishers are doing that and seem to be happy with that. It's going to be hard for them to beat Apple anytime soon because they're still figuring out the logistics in Brazil. So Amazon doesn't even sell the Kindle themselves in Brazil. They have a partner that sells that for them because they don't have a warehouse or anything. So that's kind of a challenge for them, but they're working on it. And then I'd like to talk, there's some good initiatives and startup things in Brazil. One, it's a public one, CAPES. It's a governmental agency responsible to support graduate students in Brazil. So they already buy $6 million in license of journals and ebooks to offer to universities that can then sublicense that to their students so their students can access that. So that's something that the government is already doing, which shows that digital is in their plans for the future. And then a good private example is Minha Biblioteca. The four largest Brazilian textbook publishers got together using a Vital Source Ingrams platform, and they're offering this crowd platform to universities, allowing them either to buy the books in the traditional way or to license the access to the cloud, and then again to pass over this access to the students. They started basically last year. Their catalog grew 200% last year, and now they're offering 3,500 titles. They already have 26 universities as customers. And anyway, I think this is a good example of what can be done in Brazil. So, but what are the challenges? Well, we have several challenges. One is the legal one. No one doesn't know yet if the agency model is legal in Brazil. If anyone knows that, let me know, because I hear all kinds of answers and no one can really tell that for sure. There are tax-related issues. Books are tax-free in Brazil, but the law doesn't talk anything about e-books, so you don't know. Well, because we're optimistic again, we just don't pay taxes and we'll figure out at the end of the way. But let's see. And that's very hard for the foreign players, actually, because they want to play by the book, and then they get slowed down on that. Production, we only have, like, maybe, being optimistic, 20,000 titles in our digital catalog, so we still need to work a lot in conversion and contracts and stuff like that. Our distribution is still very limited. Besides DLD, we have an ebook aggregator there called Sheriff, but it's not going as fast and getting so much traction as everyone would like, so there is an opportunity there, actually. And then, everything in Brazil is so expensive now, including the devices. So a Wi-Fi Paperwhite from Amazon costs $240. The cheapest iPad would be $1,000. So if you're not getting anywhere digital, we need to get some better prices for that. That's it, thank you. And if you don't subscribe to Publish News Brazil, do it, and we'll get news in English every week.
Thank you, Carlo. I'm so grateful to our speakers for preparing these presentations for us today and for delivering them so eloquently. I'm afraid we were hoping to have some questions from the floor, but I'm afraid we've run out of time. All of those presentations are available to all members here today. I think we're going to have a coffee break now. There's a coffee break now, and then we're reconvening in 10 minutes. So thank you again to our speakers, and have a good London Book Fair.